Welcome. This is Signal. Krampuss by Ian Patton. In shadows deep where moonlight wanes, Krampuss creeps with twisted chains. His spiral horns, his hooves of dread, his claws, bone razors made to shred. Within the fog his presence looms, a nightmare spawned from winter's gloom. His talons rip through flesh and bone. He haunts the night where demons roam. On the darkest of night, when the mist flows like a river, Krampuss stalks a village, a child's soul to deliver. To the shadows deep where moonlight wanes, where Krampuss creeps with twisted chains. In Durganville, a small village bordered on two sides by the old gorg forest, the snow lay thick and deep. As a fog crept in with the chill of a winter's night, the moon bathed the houses, streets, and lanes in a strange, almost eldritch glow. The air was dead with silence as Krampuss, winter's cruel demon, the taker of children's bodies and souls, arose from the cursed depths of Sheol and emerged from the old gorg forest. His eyes were a burning scarlet red, his breath a sinister yellow acid fog mingled with the gelid air as his razor-sharp hooves cut through the ice like a bone knife through a soft, warm liver. Krampuss was hunting. The full moon threw long shadows on the snow-covered ground as Krampuss, with a wave of his gnarled, bony hand, cast a spell of sleep upon the entire village, and like a black veil, a death-like slumber fell over Durganville, and the little village with its snow-covered houses seemed frozen in time. Krampuss moved through the streets and lanes silently, hooves muffled by the deep snow, until he found what he was searching for. He had sensed the child's goodness and purity and power in the dark world, and he knew it was a prize he must and would have, a prize that in the end he would happily eviscerate and utterly destroy.
Yes,
he thought, clicking his claws.
Back to the dark world, where I'll rip out your inner life and soul as I shred your tiny body.
The Eldcraft family were magical toy makers and were known throughout the county for their creations. Their enchanted toys, and especially their little wooden dancing cats, were highly sought after. They lived on a quiet Cedar Lane street close to the center of Durganville, about a half-mile from the edge of the old gorg forest, in a cozy little white cottage at 13 Arkham Lane. In a small room at the corner of the house, little Amanda Eldcraft slept soundly, surrounded by numerous toys fashioned by the hands of her talented kin. Amanda certainly had a gift, and when she turned 11, she would begin her apprenticeship in the art and craft of magical toy making. As the house slept, Krampuss crept to the corner of the Eldcraft's small white cottage. Grinning malevolently, he cast the demon spell of dissolution and slipped through the cottage walls like snow through mist. And drawn by his hatred of innocence, drawn to utterly destroy the child that lay sleeping in its tiny bed, he materialized in little Amanda Eldcraft's room with murderous intent. She moaned in her now disturbed sleep as the demon's presence froze the very air. Fritz, the Eldcraft family's midnight black cat, slumbered by the fireplace, but something in his dreams, something from the haunted void. He woke up with a start, and his eyes snapped open. Immediately sensing the intrusion of a vile and evil darkness, his body began to glow with a faint ethereal light, and with an otherworldly speed and grace, he slipped through the walls of the cottage, gliding silently into little Amanda's room. standing over the crib, Krampuss extended his gnarled hand with its clicking razor-sharp claws toward the sleeping child. The enchanted toys, once lively and animated, stood still as statues, their magic muted by the malevolence in the ether. And as claws were about to close around Amanda's throat, a snarling cat voice yowled.
Touch little Amanda, and I'll eat your bloody face off. Leave now, demon, or I'll have your guts.
The room crackled with a tension that transcended the mortal realm. Krampuss turned his evil gaze towards the midnight black cat, with a strange glowing white patch on its chest, and a twisted smile played on his lips.
Move aside, wretched feline, or I'll crush you like an insect.
His cursed voice a guttural growl that echoed through the dead air of the silent room. Fritz responded with a long, eerie laugh that reverberated through the now enchanted space.
I don't think so, you great slug.
The black cat's eyes glowed with a defiance, and his long claws eased out of their sheaths as he prepared for battle. Infuriated by the arrogance and insolence of this mere cat, Krampuss lunged at Fritz with terrible purpose. But in response, Fritz danced through the air with a speed and grace, and with uncanny agility, easily avoided Krampuss's attack. And as Fritz landed safely back on the floor, a shocked Krampuss howled in pain as 4 long, deep slices opened up on his right cheek and began oozing thick black blood.
Want some more, you great fat lump?
Snarled Fritz. Krampuss howled in rage, and the room then became a surreal battleground. And as Amanda's enchanted toys watched silently, the forces of light and darkness clashed. Each blow Fritz delivered left trails of black demon blood that crackled and hissed, and as it hit the floor and walls, it dissolved back into the dark nothingness from whence it came, leaving not a trace in this world.
You cannot defeat me, Guardian Cat.
Krampuss roared, his voice a mixture of anger, frustration, and perhaps uncertainty. As Fritz, undeterred, pounced with seemingly supernatural force, his claws finding their mark, tore through the malevolent face like a sharp knife through soft cheese. In a final decisive blow that opened up the demon's neck, Fritz sent Krampuss staggering backward. The horned demon, now bleeding and frightened, reemerged into the fog and cold dark of Arkham Lane. Wounded and bewildered by the spectral cat's power, the demon ran for the old Gorg forest, back to the doorway he had opened, back to the safety of the dark world. And then he'd heal, and when healed, he'd come back to Durganville with a spell to magically bind Amanda Eldcraft's wretched little protector. And with that done, he'd take Amanda Eldcraft and burn her alive in front of the bloody cat, just before he cut off its legs and threw what was left to the wargs. But Fritz, his eyes gleaming with hatred, knew it wasn't over and chased Krampuss through the fog-laden streets of Durganville. The village, seemingly frozen in time, bore witness to the pursuit. The enchanted houses seemed to lean closer, as if eager to watch the horned terror's defeat. As Krampuss staggered through the fog, Fritz, the spectral silhouette against the mist, pursued him relentlessly, slashing at the demon's legs as it tried to run away. The malevolent entity cried in pain and now terror as he ran through the shadows of the old Gorg forest, hoping to escape his relentless pursuer. But instead of running to the opened eldritch doorway in safety, Fritz's continual attacks forced Krampuss to veer south to the high granite cliffs overlooking the black, cold, swirling Gorg River. Moonlight cast eerie shadows on the snowy ground as the two adversaries faced each other. Fritz, the guardian cat, spoke with a voice that seemed to resonate with an ancient, powerful magic, and suddenly, Krampus knew this was not a cat at all, but a cat-she.
Your malevolence ends here, Krampuss. Leave this village and never return.
Krampus, wounded and desperate, snarled in defiance.
I am eternal wretched cat. You cannot banish me.
I'm fine with that, demon,
said Fritz, and with a sudden, supernatural force, he lunged at Krampus, landing on his face, and as Fritz, the midnight black cat-she, calmly chewed out an eye, the screaming horned terror lost his footing and tumbled over the cliff into the swirling river below. And as the dark waters swallowed him out, Krampus's howls of rage and terror faded into the night. Durganville, now free from the grip of Krampus's spell, stirred from its enchanted slumber, and as dawn broke over the east, the fog lifted, revealing the serene beauty of the snow-covered landscape. Fritz slept peacefully on his favorite rug by the fireplace. In the morning, Amanda picked him up for a cuddle and to feed him his favorite, salmon. And as she did so, she whispered in his ear, "I know what you did last night, and that means extra salmon." Fritz gave Amanda a big cat smile and purred contentedly. The end.